Good evening, one and all, and my apologies for the delay. Apologies that we're going straight into this and not giving you guys a countdown, but it wouldn't be us if we didn't run into some kind of technical issue right before we went live. But nonetheless, we figured it out. We're here. We're back. Alex and Cole with you tonight. It is the Going Broadway podcast once again. Cole, it's been a minute. What's going on?
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the greatest wrestling podcast ever. I can't believe I can still say that as quickly as I just did.
Just rolls right off the tongue.
It has been a minute, and because of that, there are 1,000,001 things to talk about, and yet such little time to do it.
Indeed. So, gosh, I mean, I don't even know where to start. Well, I take that back. I know exactly where to start. Oh, I didn't want it on a loop, though. It's also been a minute since I've been on StreamYard and messed with our settings. Oh, gosh. No, before we jump in, going to give maybe a minute or two just for some people to jump on.
I'm sharing right now. That's what I'm doing, y'all. I'm not ignoring. I'm sharing.
Go for it. Yeah, it's been, gosh, it's 2 months, I think.
Just a lot, month and 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's been a while. But we appreciate everybody's patience, and I'll probably repeat that. Cole will probably repeat that just throughout. You know, what's amazing is during the 2 months we were off, you know, just the overall engagement on our socials, on our Discord, was just as active, if not more so, in some respects. All of our Patreons stuck with us, which we sincerely appreciate. You know, we just can't say thank you enough. And it was at least for me, I can't speak for Cole necessarily, at least for me, it was a much needed break. Just to kind of recharge a little bit. Cole and I both have had actually a lot of life changes during this last couple months. We both got big boy jobs again.
That's true. Very true.
You know, I went on vacation with my family for a couple weeks, and by the way, I am now of the mindset that a 1 week vacation, if it's a destination vacation, if you're going somewhere, 1 week is not long enough. On the other hand, 2 weeks was maybe a little on the longer side. I was probably ready to be home by like day 12, day 11, maybe. It was still a good time. I enjoyed myself. Enjoyed spending time with my kids during my off time. In fact, one of them is to my right now. He's just chilling, playing Roblox on my phone. My wife and daughter are actually at a camp right now, so we're just two guys hanging out for the week. And again, he's just chilling out over here, minding his own business. So, what I'm looking for, guys, is if we can get our view count up a little bit. I thought about opening up with the free giveaway just because. Just because. I guess I got a few little dillies to my right here to I'll just probably randomly grab one and say this is what our free giveaway is going to be. So, I don't know. I'll give it another minute or two. Just see how many people we can get on here with us. But what's new with you?
Oh, me.
You.
I thought we were playing, the fourth wall over here.
No.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, we took the little sabbatical. And guys, fun fact, I have watched maybe 5% of wrestling in that amount of time. Like,
same here.
I know I'm up to date, but
Same
as
here.
far as actually sitting down and watching, it has been I'm not going to say it's been complicated to watch because that's not the right word. Because we didn't have a show, I didn't feel like I had to be on top of it and watch. And that was actually a nice feeling for a little bit because,
yeah,
the pressure wasn't there to watch, to know every little detail of what was happening and all that good stuff. And so it was a refreshing time. I have been on the road a lot. And I'm not done yet. I told Alex, like, these next 2 weeks, I'm pretty much gone again. So I'm thankful for that. Like, that's good. But I'm on the road a lot here these past couple months. So that's been good. That's been a good time. And yeah, but I will say this: there's a lot going on in wrestling that is exciting, and there's some cool things that are happening. And so I'm excited to jump in and talk about all of that good stuff.
Sorry, I'm looking for my so for quick context, not to change topics, but I'm going to. So before we took our break, I showed you guys this this perler bead Hulk Hogan thing that my daughter made for me. I actually had it sitting right here before I started running into the technical issues, and now it fell down. I can't seem to find where it went. That's why I'm kind of like jumbling, looking all over the place, because it fell on the floor somewhere and I can't find it. Oh, I found it. It's tangled up on all these little cords and stuff down here. There we go. Yeah, brother. No, it reminded me when our buddy Ryan on the chat, I saw the Hulk Hogan meme and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot to grab that. So anyway, we rang the bell and we said we were going to talk about, no, Hulk just doesn't want to stay there.
He's retired.
Yeah. Oh, didn't completely fall. Maybe. Forget it. It's fine. It is what it is. Tell you what, we'll do a free giveaway at some point, but I'm going to make you hang out with us for a while and talk wrestling.
He teased it, y'all. He teased it.
I did tease it. So in the words of Cody, what do you guys want to talk about? I mean, we can literally go in any direction. It's been 2 months since we've talked about anything. Well, okay, let's start with this. And you guys participate that are watching. Is AEW more interesting now? Has it raised any eyebrows lately? Is it getting your interest back? I'm interested in your guys' opinion. Cole, I'm interested in your opinion. I will briefly share my stance on it. I watched Forbidden Door, and we'll kind of touch on that in just a second. I've seen some of the MJF and Adam Cole stuff that they've been doing, and I'm seeing a lot of this stuff on social media about it's being revitalized, or maybe that's not the right word. It's on its comeuppance again, so to speak. And I even posted on our Twitter a couple weeks ago if people thought if Forbidden Door was their best pay-per-view since All Out, where Adam Cole and Bryan Danielson debuted. Most thought so. I thought it was good. I mean, I've not watched AEW enough to know if it was the best pay-per-view. That was a legit poll. I was just curious what people thought. I didn't have an opinion. That all being said, I think Dynamite tomorrow will be very pivotal as it could sway my opinion a little bit, depending on the blood and guts match and such. Now, granted, I'm not going to be able to watch it live. If I watch it, it'll have to be after the fact. But from what I've seen so far to this point, coming out of Forbidden Door, aside from the MJF and Adam Cole stuff, I'm still not ready to jump on that bandwagon just yet. I know a lot of people on social media have. I'm not there yet. So, Cole, I don't know if you've checked it out enough. Just curious your thoughts, if you have any.
All right, I'm gonna give you my thoughts, and then I'm gonna stick to my word on something I said on some podcasts back. There are plenty of talents in AEW that would make me want to watch because I like that talent, right? Not because I like the storyline that they're in, not because I like the person they're paired up with in the moment that they're in, specifically because at some point that particular talent resonated with me, and I want to watch to see if they ever get restored back to where I saw them heading in their career.
Indeed.
Several talents that are in AEW that I like. I will say that I think that if you only have one intriguing story going on out of all three of your shows, there's a problem. I'm not saying that WWE hasn't, we're going to compare apples to oranges here. I think WWE has done a lot better in the past year about having more than one interesting story going on. I think that the Bloodline story obviously has overtaken all other stories because it's been so good.
Yeah.
But they've had other intriguing stories happening simultaneously that don't overshadow their big story, right?
Correct.
But AEW, to me, they're very good about only having one story. They do not have multiple stories going on at once. They're intriguing for me. And here's how I can tell you that. I don't remember that AEW is happening Wednesday night. I don't remember that AEW is happening on Saturday now with Collision. Like, there's nothing intriguing about the stories that make me say I need to tune in and watch tonight to find out what happens with that story. Even in our little sabbatical where I told you guys I've only watched like 5% of wrestling, it was in the back of my head. Oh, it's Monday. It's Monday Night Raw tonight. Oh, it's Friday. It's Friday Night SmackDown. There's a part of me that wants to set time aside and watch and see what's going on with this Roman Reigns story. What's going on with this LA Knight thing? What's going on with the Judgment Day and Damian Priest, and like there's all these multifaceted things that are happening on that show that makes me want to say, hey, maybe I'm gonna watch.
Right.
AEW does not do that for me in the slightest. Like, there is not a single story, there's not a single thing that's like, man, I need to tune in and watch what's going to happen on AEW. I also you see the comments that are made. Well, Collision had 34 minutes of wrestling, SmackDown had 34 minutes of drama, and compared the Bloodline storyline to the matches that you saw on Collision. Here's the difference. They had a 34-minute match and ain't nobody care. Like, no one talked about FTR and CM Punk like crazy compared to what you see being talked about with the Bloodline. They had CM Punk and Samoa Joe faced off. Cool. If you're not an indie person, you don't even know about that feud. It's not even relevant. It's not relevant. That would be like them. Who was it? Riddle and Gunther. They showed all the matches they've had throughout the years. I didn't even know that any of those matches existed. I was not it took Alex to get me involved into some of the indie stuff. All right. I was very much a mainstream wrestling fan. So I didn't even know any of those matches existed. So if they would have had Gunther and Riddle just step in a ring together and done a silent standoff, I would have been one of those people standing there saying, okay, what are they doing? There's no history here. When that works for WWE is when you put like Edge and Cena in a ring together, and there's something, that there's a history there. They wanted me to watch and say Samoa Joe and CM Punk had history, and I'm supposed to sit there and be like, oh yeah, I've watched every single one of their ROH matches. No, you didn't. No, 90% of the people watching that didn't watch their ROH match.
Yeah.
So I'm having a hard time with AEW, just putting all the facts out there. I'm having a hard time with it because they know how to put on wrestling matches that have no story, they have no build, they have nothing good about them. And honestly, I'm still on the botch thing with them. They have so many spots that are so bad. They're so blatantly obvious bad. I'm trying to think of the one that's sticking out in my head. I think it had Luchasaurus in it. And like, No. Sorry, not Luchasaurus. It was Big Bill.
Well, there's the problem right there.
But if it's the problem, why is he on TV? And this is what I'm getting at is he's in the ring and he's so badly selling trying to stay in his spot so he can catch somebody and so that he can be ready for the next move, that I'm literally staring and saying that is so blatantly like it's so bad. But it was supposed to be the sequence of moves and stuff, and everyone's cheering for it, and I'm like, it was bad. It was not good at all. And then I read somebody's post saying, "Man, he's a valuable asset to the tag division right now." I was like, "How? He's bad. He's not good. He's not like it. There's nothing good that's and I didn't expect this to become a soapbox, but I'm sorry, but the fact that you have Jeff Jarrett wrestling in a ring, the fact that you have Sting wrestling in a ring, the fact that you have you feel like you need to have these 50 plus 60 plus people in age in the ring to try to draw ratings is a problem. Why is Chris why do they feel like they need Chris Jericho in the ring every single week? You know where Chris Jericho is the most entertaining? At the commentary desk as a manager role. That's where he's entertaining. If Jeff Jarrett was just managing, great, smart move. He's great on the mic. He's really good. But you have all these old people wrestling. It's Impact 101 again when Hogan came in. They're bringing in all the oldest stars that they can find because they want paychecks. Like it's just bad. It's not good, and they're doing exactly what everyone accused WWE of doing. They're bringing in these guys that want to work part-time, paying them big contracts. And then you got these extremely good, talented people who have non-prominent storylines or hardly any storyline whatsoever. Everyone's got to be in a faction. There's no such thing as just being a solo wrestler in AEW. Everyone's in a faction. Jon Moxley, whose character is literally trust nobody, is in a faction. And he's in a faction with people that he doesn't even character-wise mesh with. It doesn't even make sense. And that's how I feel when I watch AEW. I think that's a great tagline. It doesn't make sense. There's nothing that they do that makes sense. Just because you can put on a good wrestling match is great. But the indies can do that. And if that's all it took, then why aren't all these indies blowing up? Because they have great wrestling matches. We've been to some where we've been to some local indie shows where we're like, man, that was a great wrestling match. Why did it only have 40 people at it? You know, like it's one of those things for me. But I have to go back to a comment and a move that I made a few months back. I think some of you who have watched our show will remember this show because I took a CM Punk shirt and I ripped it and I cut it in half and I said, I will not watch this program if CM Punk is on it. And the fact that CM Punk is back is the reason why you will not catch me watching. That doesn't mean I won't be up to date on it, but you will not catch me spending my time, my money, and my energy watching a show that supports somebody who is as toxic to the wrestling community and the business as CM Punk. I don't say that to be mean. I just say that because honestly, it's the honest truth. It's happened in multiple companies. It's happened in multiple scenarios. And he's not as big of a draw as everyone makes him out to be. He's not as entertaining as everyone makes him out to be. And I will not watch until he is no longer wrestling.
No, I mean, someone said it earlier in the chat. What have the ratings for Collision done since they debuted?
Well, number one, it's Saturday. Who puts a wrestling show on the busiest day for America?
So they're trying to take bits and pieces of what prior wrestling companies did. They're trying to, and just from the time standpoint, they're trying to replicate WCW Saturday Night, which, the ratings for that in the mid to late 90s were not great either. That here's your litmus test. If your ratings are worse, and this is not a rip on them at all, it's just because they're the developmental. if your ratings are worse than NXT, you've got to figure something out. Because even Rampage, last I checked, maybe not last I checked, in the large scope of, since Rampage started airing, most times NXT was, I'm sorry, Rampage was doing better in the ratings than NXT. But if your program, granted, I agree, Saturday night's the busiest night of the week. However, conversely, it's also the night when no one's doing anything. A lot of people have that night off.
True.
So I kind of look at it in the sense that no, it's not going to pop a rating, but you should actually kind of balance out and even out with those that, are staying home, those that don't have to get up early the next morning. Maybe they'll watch wrestling and then go out. That sort of thing.
Here's the thing, though. Jericho said that they think they were going to start beating Raw in the ratings, right? With Dynamite, he said we're going to get there. If CM Punk is such a draw, if the guys that they have, if they are so confident that they're such a draw, why won't you go head to head with one of WWE shows? They aren't moving Dynamite to Tuesday. They moved Dynamite off of NXT nights because Dynamite couldn't outdo NXT. So,
well, to be fair, also, I mean, I know that there are guys in AEW that don't want Punk there. Jericho is one of them. Right. Now, I'm not, I'm not what's the word I'm looking for? I'm not discounting anything you said because I actually agree with everything you said. I don't know. I'm just kind of circling back to my original point. AEW needs to learn how to tell stories.
Yep.
Sure, it's wrestling. That's part of the programming. But this day and age, it's also sports entertainment. Keyword there is entertainment. Your professional wrestling is the man's soap opera. If there's just wrestling, if there's a good wrestling match, great. If there is not any kind of build up and or follow up to said match, even if it was your Meltzer 5-star match, you guys know what I'm saying. If there's no build or follow up to it, it's just going to get that star rating, and then what? No one talks about it anymore. The bloodline, the storyline with that, this has been going on for 2 years.
Yeah. Closer to 2.5, probably.
And it's just now maybe finally starting to maybe come to an end. Whether it does, I know at least on paper, it looks like it could be going in that direction. And there's also the rumor that it's going to. Regardless, the fact that it's lasted this long and it's only gotten better throughout the duration, AEW's got to step it up.
And the matches haven't gone down for WWE's quality in the process, right? Like the wrestling, the old school wrestling that everyone talks about, whether you want to admit it or not, it told a story. Yeah. That's why they didn't realize they were into the story. They thought they were just into the wrestling. But every person we've ever interviewed that we would consider a legend, they talk to us about how it's telling a story. Whether you're in the ring or outside of the ring, their goal is to make you cheer for the hero and to boo the villain. That's always been the thing. Yeah. So I'm just struggling with it all. MJF and Adam Cole and any other company would be gold. And I'm not saying it's not gold now. It's just, it's so hard to even want to watch because for 2 reasons. One, it's just AEW, and I don't want to watch the whole show to wait to find where the segment with MJF and Adam Cole is going to be at.
Right.
And number 2, they're going to mess it up. They're gonna mess it up. Listen to me. They have messed up any storyline. I would love for someone to name me a storyline in AEW where they have not messed it up, where it was a good story and they didn't mess it up. Because the only one that I can think of is Jericho with the Inner Circle when they first started off, and some of the storylines that they were building around him at the very beginning. That was entertaining. Outside of that, name me a storyline. Name me one. I don't want to hear Punk and MJF. That garbage.
They messed that up, in my opinion.
Garbage. Garbage. Name me a storyline where they had something good going and they had a payoff that has been as good as any storyline in WWE where you would say it was a successful story. I mean, Bloodline's a hard story to top, so I don't want to try to set the bar too high, because those stories are far and few between where you get something that good.
We've not had a storyline like this, in my opinion. Probably, I would even put this above, and I'm probably going to be stepping on toes saying this. I'm probably going to sound sacrilegious saying this. I would actually put this above the McMahon Austin storyline back in the day. This, in my opinion, this rivals like these guys. Yeah. This storyline.
It's one of those things where, like, the Seth Rollins, Money in the Bank cash in, the Edge, like, you had those moments where they were done well, that they were good moments, and they built up to better things, and that's great. I can't think of one in AEW's history and their existence.
Yeah, I mean,
other than maybe the first 6 months that they were a company, where everyone was on the edge of their seats because there was no expectations. Now you're a wrestling company and you're talking all this smack about, the other company and how you think you can do it just as good and if not better, and you guys got the talent and all, yada, yada, yada. But yet I cannot think of a storyline yet where you have done everything well.
Yeah. Just to address some of these questions, I don't think those are Homer Simpson donuts behind Cole. I think those are just rafts.
They're just inner tubes.
Real quick, I wanted to address Ryan's comment about this whole Meltzer rating system. Just my brief take: it's garbage. Yeah, I mean, just don't give any sort of credence to it whatsoever. In my opinion, if you do, great, that's fine. But if you're seriously telling me that neither HBK or Taker matches from Mania were 5 stars, if you're telling me that Kurt Angle never got a 5-star match, never received 5 stars from Dave Meltzer, I don't give a rip about your opinion.
I mean, he's so quick to give them out at any AEW show, but then I looked at his ratings for Money in the Bank, and he gave the Uso Roman match a 4.5. I was like, you couldn't have just round that up to a 5-star. Like,
yeah,
it was such good storytelling. It was a great match. Like, you're telling me that some of these matches you couldn't have just been like 5. You put 4.5. And then you're gonna tell me that Ospreay and Omega is 6, I just.
Well, okay, I'm just gonna briefly jump the gun because I know we were gonna talk about Money in the Bank and Forbidden Door a little bit. We're not gonna do like a full on recap just because it's been a week or two since the events. We're just gonna kind of briefly touch on it. In fact, you know what? We'll just go there now. As far as the Omega Ospreay match, I actually thought that Forbidden Door was better than their Wrestle Kingdom match, but Meltzer apparently thought differently. But it's because Meltzer, in my opinion, and we can get off Meltzer, we don't even need to talk about him after this, but it's like he has that affinity for all things Japanese wrestling, and I think that's part of what it comes down to, because the Kenny Omega we saw in this match at Forbidden Door was every bit of New Japan Kenny that we've seen since he was in AEW. At least being part of an AEW event or card, if you will. But I claimed it was too slow to start.
I think he's talking about. I think
one?
he's talking about Roman and the Uso Roman match.
Oh, no, whatever. Anyway, as far as Forbidden Door, this is one of the few pay-per-views I got to watch the vast majority of it. There are like, I think 3 matches that I didn't watch, and that was actually on purpose. Just, it's kind of my strategic breaks throughout the card. Just a couple quick thoughts I had. I will say top to bottom, I did actually enjoy this card. I thought the flow of it was decent. It didn't, like, the pace of it felt okay. I really feel like they need to find a better spot for Brian Cage. I mean, it just blows my mind where they've got him, how they're using him. And I don't know. I don't know who he's ticked off along the way, but it just, I am astonished that with the look that he has, the talent move set that he has, that he's where he's at. He was on the pre-show in an 8-man tag. Granted, he's part of the Ring of Honor 6-man tag team champions. Whatever. Like, I don't know. What else? I mean, there are pre-show matches that I watched, followed along. MJF beat Tanahashi. Whatever. I will say this: the Punk Kojima match, it wasn't great by any means, but I was surprised by it. It was better than I thought it would be, but that's really as positive as I'll be. The International Championship match. So Orange Cassidy, Zack Sabre Jr., Shibata, and Daniel Garcia. This was another really good match that, if I'm doing a rating system, I would have actually given it higher rating than our buddy Meltzer on that one. Man, Zack Sabre Jr. I wish he had a bigger platform. I wish more people got to watch him. Shibata also. Let's see. Sonata beat Jack Perry, which set up his heel turn, which I thought was good. I think his heel turn was needed, but small sample size. I don't know if I like the direction the heel turn is going. It just feels forced. Like he still has an issue with promos. Anyway, there's a 10-man tag match. Elite against the Blackpool Combat Club. It was what it was. I mentioned the Osprey Omega match is well paced throughout. Again, I thought it was better than their Wrestle Kingdom match. 6-man tag was one of my breaks. So my breaks for what it's worth, my breaks during the card were the Athena Billy Starks match, the AEW Women's World Championship match, and then this 6-man tag where it was Sting and Darby and Naito against Jericho, Guevara, and Suzuki. Botch fest from what I saw highlights of. And then Danielson and Okada. Danielson made Okada tap. I actually really liked the decision on the finish. Underwhelmed by the match, but again, Danielson wrestled half the match with a broken arm. I will say props to Tony Khan for purchasing the rights to Final Countdown, even if it was just for this match. Again, moments are cool in the moment, but then what? You've got to be able to tell a story. This card, I think, was good because they didn't necessarily have to do any sort of follow-up with a lot of these matches because it was in partnership with New Japan. You're not going to get a follow-up with Danielson and Okada. You're not going to get a follow with Punk and Kojima. Any New Japan talent are going to, there's not going to be a follow-up except with maybe we might see Ospreay and Omega at All In. That was about all the thoughts I had on it. Did you get to watch it? Any thoughts?
It wasn't that I couldn't, it's I wouldn't. Again, Punk's on it. I don't want to watch it. And to be honest with you, you named a lot of them. I knew of the matches. I couldn't. There was none of them that no one talked about that pay-per-view at all. Like
exactly. That's the point I'm trying to make. It was good in the moment. It was a good event for what it was in terms of presentation and flow and just match quality.
It proved that everyone there can wrestle a regular match. Like there was nothing special about it. I didn't hear, read, or see anything that was very astonishing about the pay-per-view, because I was like, okay, maybe once it's aired, I'll go back and watch the replay of it or whatever, and
sure,
and just skip through the Punk match. But I couldn't even pull myself to watch that much wrestling because literally no one was talking about it. Nobody.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, I'm good.
Going past, I mean, the night of and maybe the next day past that, you're right. It was just
wasn't. Like it is what it is. Cool.
I'm on the fence as far as if we'll see Danielson and Okada again. My guess is at some point in their careers they will wrestle again. I just don't know if it's going to be an immediate match. Like even if Danielson's arm heals, if he gets surgery, whatever, I don't know that, for example, at Wrestle Kingdom next year, I don't know if we would see it then. I don't know. Would I like to? Sure. But again, you can have a great match, but then the follow-up to that, there won't be one because they're in separate companies. So, you know what? Just because before we jump into the Money in the Bank discussion, let's just do a free giveaway. Why the heck not? So why don't we just reply with the letters WWE if you want to be entered. And then once we get some entries, I'll show what we're going to give away. Sound fair? Good, great, okay. By the way, if you're on multiple platforms, there we go, you can enter as many times as you want. So if you're on Facebook and you're on YouTube and you're on Twitch, reply with WWE on all three platforms if you'd like to do so. Up to you. We can go ahead and start the Money in the Bank discussion. We'll give some time for people to reply again with WWE if you want to be entered. Okay, so I won't have as many thoughts on Money in the Bank because I've only watched bits and pieces of said card. I did watch the men's Money in the Bank match. I thought it was good for what it was. I mean, given the guys in the match, it was about what I expected it to be. I mean, it had its cool spots. I was okay with the outcome. I know a lot of people wanted LA Knight to be the winner, but at this point, I saw a really good take, in my opinion, on Twitter that, let's say LA Knight gets the briefcase, let's say he cashes in, let's say he wins, then what? I feel like he really loses a lot of that momentum because he can't go anywhere from there, if that makes sense. Whereas now, he not only stays over, but gets even more over, if that makes sense. I might be the minority on this. I don't like the Logan Paul Ricochet feud coming out of this because it feels like that they're just going to feed Ricochet to Logan Paul. I feel like that's where it's going to go. I don't know. Your thoughts?
As far as the men's Money in the Bank, the only reason why I can agree with the Damian Priest win is if it's a failed cash in.
Really? Okay.
It's nothing against Damian Priest. It really isn't. I don't dislike Damian Priest. I actually like him. I do. When you are in a faction, though, and you are not even the best guy in your faction, it's hard to believe that you're going to be the world champion. It's also hard for me when they are sitting there telling me that they were scared to let LA Knight wrestle because he's the forbidden age. But Damian Priest is the same age.
He's older.
He's not young. Let's just put it that way. He's not any younger.
Yeah.
And so they Priest, I don't want to say that he hasn't earned it because the stuff he did with Bad Bunny, the stuff he's done with Judgment Day, like he's played his role and he's done well. There's nothing, but how you just discussed LA Knight with his win with the Money in the Bank briefcase, if he would have won, that's how I feel about Priest. I feel like if you give Priest the briefcase, he cashes in. Clearly, he's gonna, whoever has this is cashing in on Rollins. No one's cashing in on Roman Reigns. If you give him the briefcase, he cashes in on Rollins and wins. What's next? What do you do with Damian Priest as a world heavyweight champion? And let's be real. He was in NXT long enough. They never pulled the trigger on him being NXT champion.
Yeah.
Why was that? His run as North American champion was dry. Not because he's boring or he's bad. It's just that he's not like amazing on the mic. There's not a gimmick or a storyline to him that's that's good. That's great. You know, you kind of get that with like a Bray Wyatt, where there's a lot of storylining to be made.
Mm-hmm.
With Priest, and he's not even in probably WWE's top 20 of best wrestlers.
Yeah.
And this is not dissing. This is just facts.
Yeah.
I don't see him being someone that it feels, maybe this is a little too disrespectful to say. It feels like a Jack Swagger cash in if he wins. It's like, okay, I see you're trying to push him, but why? Because it's not going to get over. You're talking about going from Seth Rollins, who's one of your top rated people in the company, has been, he's a GOAT in the company. And you're going to have him lose to Damian Priest and go from high ratings on Rollins to ratings are going to go down. That just is the way that it is. That's why I would argue that I think the LA Knight booking would have been better for them from the standpoint of the thing that LA Knight can do that Damian Priest can't do is he can work a mic. He's good in the ring, especially if you would have kept him heel, because he would have been a heel that got he's an MJF type heel. People want to see him, they're going to cheer for him, and then he'll find a way to make them boo still. He'll find a way to still make them hate him before the night's over and be that heel. But he can work a mic. He can wrestle good in the ring. He looks believable. The package is there that when you do execute the plan and have him win the title, you can put him in any feud and he's going to help make that feud interesting because he's going to be the person on the mic to sell it, to whether it's a shoot promo or it's some, it was planned. He's going to be the guy who can carry a storyline that would have been mediocre to better. Damian Priest can't take a mediocre storyline and make it better. If he could, we would have saw that in the United States title run that he had, where he couldn't elevate anybody around him. That's not Priest's fault. That's just not the kind of talent that he is. Seth Rollins is that kind of talent. That's why they feed Seth Rollins to everybody, because he's really good at getting anybody over, including Logan Paul. So it takes a special kind of talent to do that. I'm not mad that LA Knight didn't win because he's proving who he is outside of that with the fact that he's a top 5 merch seller, that his segment that didn't even air on TV is getting more views than Bloodline segments that did.
Yeah.
Like, the proof's in the pudding. He's going to get his payday and have his moment at some point. But I didn't feel like Priest, if Priest is going to get a win with the briefcase, I think it's a bad idea. Now, if they want to use Priest the right way, he's a believable big guy. It would seem like a shoe-in, and then you have him lose still. Whether that's because Finn Balor cost him that opportunity or not, doesn't really matter. It sets up for a Finn Balor Priest storyline, which could be good. And you move on from there. So I don't think Priest is the guy that can dethrone Seth Rollins as your, especially if you want this title to feel special. And he certainly can't be the guy to beat Roman Reigns. So that's kind of my thoughts as far as the outcome. As far as the Logan Paul Ricochet thing, the only good thing that comes out of this is that I know the two of them are going to put on a really great match. They both want to do the high flying. They both want to push the limits. And so it kind of looks like they're looking to set up one of those kind of spectacle matches, if you will, with a lot of spots in it. That's going to be fun to watch. I do agree with you. Logan Paul's already taken an L he took an L obviously at Money in the Bank. He took an L to Rollins. Ricochet would be a guy that you could have Logan Paul beat, and most people are just going to be like, okay. Like,
yeah,
not because they don't dislike Ricochet, but because Ricochet's lost enough matches to where people aren't like, yeah, that why would you do that? So I'm good with that. I like the Io Sky booking. I can't remember everyone that was in the match off the top of my head.
Bailey, Becky, Trish, Zelina, and Zoe Stark.
Zoe Stark would have probably been the only other person I would have been okay with, just if you're trying to get her to be believable off the jump, because she's so freshly new to the roster. But I like Io Sky. I think it's a perfect person to give the briefcase to. She's a believable women's champion. She proved that when she was in NXT. She can run the show. So I was good with that. I like anything Bloodline related has been great. I thought the storytelling in that match was great, and I liked that they gave Jey Uso the pinfall.
I didn't.
The belt wasn't on the line.
I know. I really feel like Roman Reigns' first pinfall loss, singles match, tag match, title on the line, not on the line, should be when he actually loses the belt to whomever it might be. I'm not saying it has to be Cody. I'll give you a fantasy booker scenario. What if LA Knight would have won the briefcase? What if he would have been the one to cash in and actually beat Roman?
See, I used to think that the briefcase was going to be the only way to beat Roman, to where you could protect him and protect the thing. But the more that they're pushing the storyline, the more that I'm like, they don't want to protect Roman. They want to get to a point that when Roman gets beat, it's a shock value, not because it was a cheap move and someone cashed in a briefcase to get the dub. They want someone to actually dethrone Roman Reigns, fair and square, overcome all the obstacle, all the odds. And so I'm okay with this because they want to break the bloodline up, whatever they're going to do with that. Cool. If Jay's already lost to him twice. So if you want to make Jay as a believable thing, then I'm like, okay, Jay's got to be able to show that he can actually get a dub on him. So the best way to get a dub on him, or to prove that he could potentially get a dub on him, is by giving him the pinfall at a show where the belt wasn't on the line. So him proving that he can pin Roman makes their next match at SummerSlam at least somewhat believable that Jay could win. He's already lost to him twice. So, and then submitted to him for 2 years. So now it's kind of like that pin at least gives them the ability to say, okay, well, Jay could technically win. He pinned him.
So I saw a really good take. Most of the time I don't agree with his takes, but this one I did. Bubba Ray, Bully Ray, whatever, had this idea where even though WWE doesn't like doing this. They should do a dusty finish for this match. So basically, like, to give an example, Jey Uso actually pins or submits Roman Reigns, but the technicality is that, like, the ref actually, let's say, okay, here's a scenario. Jey has Roman in, what was that submission that Roman uses every so often?
The guillotine thing.
Yeah. Whatever it's called. Jey has him in that. But let's say Roman is like bleeding profusely. Whatever. They'd either have to purposely do it hard way or blade, which I know that they don't like doing that either. So that's probably out of the question. So you'd probably have to do some kind of hard way, whatever. But the ref calls for the bell. Everybody thinks Jay's won it, but then it's actually the ref stopped the match because of blood. Roman still retains.
Yeah, I mean, I like keeping the storyline alive that Jey could always have beaten him, but never actually gets the win. Because let's be real, they're not gonna have Jey Uso win the world title. It's not gonna. Not that he's not good. There's just no point in that. It would be. I saw somebody's take saying that would be a very underwhelming payoff for everything that they've done.
It would be. I agree.
I would be more of the mindset that if you're gonna have anyone in the bloodline go over on Roman, it would need to be Solo because you're building up the next generation. You're trying to hand the reins off. Solo's not ready for that at all. But that would be the only mindset. That's why I was saying if you're looking for the quick payoff with the bloodline storyline, the winner should have been Sami Zayn because it at least would have made sense that
I love that you're still on that.
It should have been. I think that if they were wanting to end it that soon, like they were looking to end Roman, it's clear they want Roman to be in like the top 3 of title reigns, at least of longest title reigns. I think he's 4 right now. He just surpassed Hogan, right?
Maybe.
So it's what the top 3 I think was 2 Bruno Sammartinos and Bob Backlund, right?
Sure.
I think it's those 3. So they're clearly trying to get him in the top 3, which would mean that he's gonna have to hold the belt probably to the next WrestleMania.
Oh, way past that.
And we'll get him into the top 3. I think if he held it to next WrestleMania, he would get in the top 3. So
it depends how they're structuring it because so they're only counting. Are they counting combined reigns?
Just longest one-time reign.
Okay. The problem with that is Bruno Sammartino would have.
He could surpass his first one. So Bruno's got the number 1, which is like some ridiculous on like 4,000 something days or something like that. But he could. I think Bruno Sammartino also holds the 3rd spot, and it's not as near as long. It's still really long, but it's not near as long.
Okay, so I don't even know when this was last updated.
He just surpassed Hogan. Like 2 days ago.
Okay. So we've got. So this, according to this, Pedro Morales 1,027 days.
He's already surpassed that.
Bruno Sammartino 1,237 days.
He's already surpassed that.
Hulk Hogan 1,474 days.
He just surpassed that. So whatever's in front of those are Roman Reigns.
That can't be right. Hang on. There's got to be like a list that says like single title reigns because I'm pretty sure that I'm looking. Sorry guys, but I gotta know this.
So Roman just
I think I found it. Okay. Pedro Morales 1,027 days. He's surpassed that.
Yep.
Bruno Sammartino 1,237.
He's surpassed that.
Are you sure?
He's He just surpassed Hogan's. It was announced on all social media. Like, yeah, I'm almost positive he surpassed Hogan's.
Because Hogan's was from the Hogan's single one was from January 23rd, 1984 to February 5th, 1988. That's 4 years. That doesn't seem right. Maybe Hogan's is the next one that he'll pass. Reigns is at 1,041 days. I was gonna say, I didn't think he was getting.
I just saw a whole
Past one of Hogan's.
Yes.
I'm curious which one of. I gotta see which one.
He's had it for
Hogan's.
1,044 days. That's
They
according
did
to
announce him passing Hogan. That doesn't make sense to me. I got to go back and do the math on that later because
1,044 days. That is WWE's website right there. 1,044 days.
What am I missing here? Hogan has multiple. Yeah, I get that he has multiple, but he only had one reign that was that long. Like he had another that was, gosh, like 300 and some days. Yeah, from Mania 5 to Mania 6, 364. 248 days in 91 from March 24th to November 27th. So that was from Mania 7 until Survivor Series. I don't know. I'll have to. Hogan has 1,041 and 1,473. I don't know where that 1,041's coming from, though.
So number one is Bruno Sammartino. He's got 2,803 days.
Are you on WWE's website?
Nope.
Where are you looking?
I'm looking at Yahoo Sports.
Yahoo Sports.
Bob Backlund is number 2 at 2,135 days. Number 3, which is what Roman Reigns no, not this one. Sorry. Hulk Hogan's number 3 at 1,474 days. That's the third one. Bruno Sammartino's number 4 again at 1,237.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at also.
So Roman Reigns is number 5 right now on the list, but I don't understand where they're getting. Did you see the post I'm talking about?
No, is it on Twitter?
It's on. I saw it everywhere. I saw it multiple places. Let me find it. They had a picture and everything. Roman surpassing Hulk Hogan.
We're going to figure this out, guys. I mean,
like now it's bothering me because I literally, I saw the picture like 1,000 times. I'm about to just go to one of these wrestling groups that I'm in.
There you go. While you're doing that, I'm going to officially wrap up our Forbidden Door Money in the Bank conversation and do our giveaway real quick. So what I'm going to give away is, let's see. I'm not looking. I'm just going to pick one. And it's going to be this one. So this is an autographed Andrade NXT action figure. On the back, you can tell how old this is. This is, not super old, 2017. But it's got Kevin Owens, Hideo Itami, Ty Dillinger, Sami Zayn, and Samoa Joe. But it also comes with the Tube Man. So, yeah, I don't know if that's rare or not, but anyway. So, hold on just 1 second. Sorry, guys. Hold on. Sorry, guys. So let's while Cole's doing his research, let's do this drawing. So, gosh darn it. Sorry. Hold on, guys. All right. Let's do this drawing. So, for one, so we're going to do a GBP belt drawing at the end of the show for those of you that entered our raffle. So the winner of that's going to win this thing back here. Right there. But we'll do that at the end of the show. But I'll actually be able to throw up that drawing as I'm doing it. This one I can't. So you'll just kind of have to trust me that I'm being honest here. But anyway, so as always, it's 10 clicks. Here we go. One. Hang on. There. Okay. Let's try it again. One. There we go. Now it's working. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And click number 10 will be our winner. And it is number 10. Andrew W. Boehner Jr. is our winner of the Andrade action figure. So congratulations to Andrew. Big supporter of the show. We always appreciate him. Cole, any word on that research?
You know, it's always when you're trying to find it that it's never there. I feel like this happens to me a lot. I'm going to start screenshotting every single thing that I ever see that I'm like, someone's going to question me on this. And I'm going to want to prove that I'm not tripping. No, I can't find the man. There was like a picture in every single wrestling group that I was in, and it literally read like, you know, it had Roman facing up against Hulk Hogan in his prime, and it literally said like, you know, Roman Reigns surpassed, and it named out the days, and the days that they said for Roman Reigns were accurate. I remember that number, but now reading what Hogan's is, I'm like, no, those numbers aren't right.
It doesn't make sense. Exactly. So
now I'm confused.
Just a heads up, guys, for future podcasts / future giveaways. I'm not going to say when we'll do them, but for future giveaways, these will be some other giveaway items that we'll have just down the road. Andre in his suit with the Andre 87 belt. And then this is the one I'm going to be really excited about giving away eventually when we do it. Again, not going to say when. It will happen at some point. An autographed Magnum TA Elite figure. So, yeah, the time will come, but not tonight. So while Cole is still continuing to dig for information, we haven't done one of these in a while. If you have any questions for us, send them our way. I do remember that our buddy David Tilley had a question in our Discord. I'm going to go back to it real quick. I believe it was something along the lines of like, what's something good and bad about both WWE and AEW? We kind of touched on AEW to some degree. There we go. One good thing about each company and one bad. AEW, I mean, in a nutshell, they can do good matches, but they can't tell good stories. kind of what it comes down to. With WWE, the good stuff, the good things are self-explanatory. I mean, they tell great stories. They still have good matches as well. I do feel like they still.
So I'm not tripping. I found the post.
Yeah, 1,041 days doesn't make any sense to me.
I don't know where that number came from, but that was in every wrestling group chat. Now you know I'm not crazy, y'all. I'm not crazy. This was posted in every single wrestling group chat. Thank you very much. Now I can let it go.
Now you can sleep tonight. You said that was 1,041. Was that right?
Yeah. So Romans was at 1,042 when they made the post.
So the problem with that is 1,041. If you divide that by 365 days in a year, that's less than 3 years. Hogan had it for more than 4.
I'm just a messenger.
However, only 1,041 days were part of the WrestleMania era. What does that matter? What do you mean part of the WrestleMania era?
So is that all that WWE counts?
It shouldn't. I mean, a title reign is a title reign.
I just wanted to, now I can sleep. All right. Now I can sleep easy knowing that I found the picture.
Anyway. So yeah, send us your questions.
So what was the question?
So David Tilley asked, he just said, what's one good thing about each company and one bad thing? And I mentioned that we've kind of already addressed AEW's good and bad. They have good matches, but can't tell good stories.
There's nothing good about AEW. There's plenty of bad. AEW. The good thing about AEW is they have wrestlers that I like. So there's a good thing. I'll be nice there. They do have some wrestlers that I like. The bad thing is
I would love to see not the restaurant, Five Guys, not the restaurant. Five Guys jump from AEW to WWE. And if this happens, I've said this before, but I'm saying it again. If this happens, I don't think AEW survives. If you have the Bucks, Kenny, and FTR jump / go back to WWE, I think that's the nail in the coffin for AEW.
And I'm gonna say, and this is an unpopular opinion, that if none of them go there, I still think that AEW doesn't survive because I don't really care about any of those people. Like I just personally, I don't care for any of them. Used to, but I think to me, watching them. Here's the thing. I'll say this, not to get back on the AEW tangent.
Do it.
But now that the Young Bucks and Kenny and all of them have been portrayed on TV a lot, I think people recognize, and why a lot of people aren't connecting as much with them anymore, is that they were fun to watch because you didn't get to watch them that much. So when you did get to watch them, it was a treat.
That's fair.
Now that they're on TV every week and they're kind of one trick, I'm going to throw my guy on the bus here. People didn't like watching John Cena because he was the five moves of doom. The Young Bucks are kind of the same way. They do the same stuff every match.
Fair. Yeah.
Kenny Omega, kind of the same way. He might have more than 5 moves, but it's the same match, just with different opponents. There's nothing ever any different. So I could actually take it or leave it on all of them. Would they be big moves? Yeah, people will pop. But I want to see guys. You mentioned Brian Cage. I'd love to see Brian Cage leave. I miss Adam Cole in WWE. I think he could do a lot better. MJF in WWE would be great.
If I want to say one thing real quick, if MJF does not go to WWE next year, like if for some reason he's already re-signed with AEW or does re-sign, then Tony Khan backed up the Brinks truck for him. I mean, he had to have gotten excuse me, he had to have gotten paid like $5 million or something ridiculous. I mean, because WWE has so much more to offer, like character brashness aside. Like I disagree with the logic or the mindset that that MJF would have to tone it down. To some degree, yes, but everyone's making it seem like he'd have to have a complete character change. No, that's not the case. He could still be the same MJF. They would probably go the route of, unless I've not paid much attention as far as like the ratings before the shows. Are they TV 14?
Yeah, but and here's the thing. He just wouldn't be able to be so out there every week. They're going to probably say like here and there you can drop this phrase or this word. Like
Yeah.
they let people do stuff that are a little out of bounds here and there. You got to build that trust, I think.
Yeah.
And so
MJF's not getting 5 million yet. He's not making in the millions yet. Well,
no way.
I'll rephrase. Unless whatever he worked out with TK prior to him, at Double or Nothing, whenever he went through his deal or whatever. Would I be surprised if it's in the millions? No, but 5 million. I disagree that he's making that now.
There's a lot of tag teams that AEW has too that I think would be better off. But overall, I wish Keith Lee would go back and kind of get himself back in shape. I think he was better off there. You got guys like Andrade, Malachi Black. I'm actually of the mindset that Miro can just get out of wrestling. I don't think.
He doesn't need to be doing it anymore.
I think he's toxic as well. Honestly, the more that I hear it, so there's people that are great in AEW. As far as WWE goes, I will say a negative for me is that I don't think they're using Cody Rhodes well. The Brock Lesnar thing, I think that was a bad. Not that they're not making the most of it. I think they are. I think that was a bad story change. Like you were doing the tell the story, finish the story kind of thing. And I think there's plenty of other storylines that if you wanted to keep Cody away from the title at this point, that you could have went with. And actually somebody gave me a really great idea because I've been thinking of a third member for the longest time. I would love for Cody to bring Legacy back. To do something with Legacy. And here's the thing, you have Braun Breaker that you could add to Legacy. That could be how you do his main roster call up and get him on the roster. If you brought Hook in, he's a second generation wrestler. You could put Hook in that category, see if Cody can find a way to get him over. And depending on where you want to go with it, you could do Dom. The Judgment Day is going to break up. You could do Dom. They're all second, third, fourth, generation wrestlers. It's got the Legacy thing all over it. You could have Cody and Orton feud even over it, or if you want Orton to bring Legacy back and he's trying to bring Cody in and Cody's playing the good guy and wants nothing to do with it. Like there's just different things that I would much rather see that than Cody versus Brock Lesnar 3 times. So I think they've really underutilized Cody Rhodes since bringing him back. And I will say that I think a negative of WWE right now is they've not done very well with the people that they've brought back in. There's very few that they've actually been able to do well with. I don't know how you don't have Karrion Kross over at this point.
I want to address this real quick. He's not in prison for life yet. He could face up to like 100 and some years, but I'm always of the mindset too, innocent until proven guilty. And there's been a lot of stuff that's like a lot of stuff that I'll put it this way. A lot of the stuff that wrestling media isn't covering, like wrestling media looks for I'm getting on a topic change. Wrestling media likes to cover the dirt, but what they don't cover is a lot of the stuff that comes out after the fact that sort of can contradict the allegations. And I'm not talking specifically about this, but not only about this. Everyone can form their own opinion, do your own research and stuff. But anyway, I'll get off that. But nonetheless, as far as the Legacy storyline, I could get behind that.
I'm just saying it would be more interesting than just Cody versus Brock for whatever reason.
Because I agree. It just felt kind of like thrown together almost.
Let's do a program, Cody and Brock, for 4 months to get us to SummerSlam and do a big SummerSlam match and call it a day. So I would say the people they've brought back in overall, including Cody, they've not done a very good job of giving them great places on the card and building their stories. Again, I think Karrion Kross has been a huge drop. I think Bray Wyatt has been a huge, huge drop off. These are guys that were over in NXT or over at some point in their career. And if you just brought them in as who they were, that's one of the things I don't understand too. I'll actually say that as well. Another thought on WWE, since I was so negative about AEW, I'll give you some negatives on WWE. If they would just bring who these people were in NXT up to the main roster and didn't change their characters completely every single time, these people would be over. When Keith Lee got brought up to the main roster, just bring him up. Just bring him up and push him. That's all you had to do. Karrion Kross, when you brought him up to the main roster, you made him a freaking like Roman soldier looking thing. Like, why couldn't he just come up and put people on cross jackets or whatever it's called, choke people out and be dominant? Why do we have to do all these gimmick changes and stuff? Like, I think it's clear that the Creed brothers are getting ready to come up.
Sorry, I'm just picturing in my mind you asking this question and McMahon being like, well, pal, it's because we need Keith Lee to be Bearcat Keith Lee.
Yeah, but unfortunately, he's Vampire Keith Lee now in AEW. So it's that blows my mind. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm scared for the Creed brothers to come up right now because I think that they're really good. But I feel like they're gonna end up putting them in a stable with Chad Gable and making it a comedic act. And I'm like, they're better than this. Like, they're
okay. But now, to be fair, hold on. I gotta say something about this. Alpha Academy is super entertaining. I'm just saying.
I'm not dissing that, but I'm saying the Creed brothers are more than that. They are a tag team that you could bring in. You could make them the next big thing. I mean, you really could. And that's all I was saying. I'm not dissing Chad. They're funny. It's entertaining. I'm not denying that. I'm just saying it makes it like they've destroyed the War Raiders. I mean, the War Raiders were the stuff on NXT. And then you bring them up and you know, they're very hit and miss with their call-ups because they try to change them when they get them to the Max Dupree. I mean, that the LA Knight stuff was that was garbage. It was so bad.
Why does she have to be Valhalla, however you pronounce it? Just Sarah Logan. Just
yeah, they've done
if it's not broken.
There's just so many of them that they've like. It makes me nervous when they want to bring Braun Breaker up. It makes me nervous. Like they're doing well with Grayson Waller. That's good to hear. Like there are a handful of them. You dropped the ball with Austin Theory again. Like I don't.
He doesn't even have a match at SummerSlam yet.
Like I just don't understand. The rumor is it's going to be LA Knight, and they're going to put the United States title on him.
They're going to have to move quick if they're going to. So that's still going to feel just thrown together. SummerSlam's in what, like 2.5 weeks?
Right. Well, and they've done that before though, but
I get it. But
Braun Strowman's not been used very, like there's just so many of them that their stories can kind of write themselves that there's better for them.
What it's worth.
Huh?
Strowman's injured for what it's worth.
But even before he got in, that's what I'm saying. Like they just have missed. So to answer your question, that would be probably one of my biggest complaints is that they've not used. And I'll throw another one. Sami Zayn KO's title run as tag champs has been very underwhelming.
It's been flat. No, I agree. But however, I saw that coming because it's like the classic babyface chase to a championship. But then they get
against dominant heels. But
then they get there, they win the belts. But then what? Like that's kind of the classic problem in wrestling is whenever you're babyface, singles or tag, they win the championship. Then what? Because that's kind of the reason, I mean, you can go back to as far, here's what set WWF and WCW apart in the 80s. Hogan was your babyface champion, and you had him. He had his run and did his thing as a babyface. WCW/NWA was as flying high as well with Flair as champion. But then eventually, whenever the babyface that was chasing him won the title, it wasn't a very long title reign because they couldn't figure out how to get this babyface over or to keep him over as champion. I mean, that's why Dusty on a couple of different occasions won it, briefly held it, and then dropped it back to Flair. Sting in 1990 at the Great American Bash, he only held it for a few months, if I remember correctly. So, that's just a problem in wrestling. So, guys, I'm actually getting to the point where I got to jump off here pretty soon. Again, I got my 6-year-old. He's just hanging out and kind of doing his own thing. So, we appreciate the questions. We appreciate the interaction. Whenever we don't have as much to talk about as we did tonight, I'll throw more of your comments up as well. Is it really still 4 weeks out? I thought it was. Where am I at here?
It's August, right?
For some reason, I thought it was okay. I thought it was the last week of July for some reason. That makes sense.
I think it's the first week of August, so
August 5th.
It's still a little time.
Three and a half weeks. Okay,
we're in the early.
So a little bit more time than I thought. All right, well, fair enough. Where are we at here? Just real quick, a couple things. We still have our Pro Wrestling Tees store that you can check out. So, prowrestlingtees.com/Going Broadway podcast. Again, our merch is still out there. You can check it out. I forgot what t-shirt prices are now, but if you're interested, go buy a shirt. It supports the show, supports us. We sincerely appreciate it. Sorry guys, I forgot to bring water in here with me. What else? Oh, so Cole and I were talking about our next gaming event. I think we're going to shoot for August. We need to figure out a date. I know Cole's got a graphic pretty much prepared. Like Cole prepared monthly graphics like late last year, earlier this year. And unfortunately, there are going to be one or two of them that don't want to say they won't get used, but they won't get used right away. Maybe they'll get used down the road or whatever. But obviously we didn't do one in May or June, or maybe June and July, obviously. But nonetheless, we are going to try to do one in August, and we'll keep you guys up to date on a date and time when that's going to be. Before we do this drawing for the GBP belt, Cole, did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, like I said, we're kind of getting things back up and going from our little hiatus. There's going to be a little inconsistency probably over the next couple of weeks as we still kind of work through the summer.
Yeah.
And get through some of these dates. So just bear with us, but we're back. We are going to get back to regular scheduled nights. I think we're aiming towards Tuesday nights. But
yeah, that's the goal moving forward until we let you guys know otherwise. So unless we post something on our socials saying otherwise, plan on us being live on Tuesday nights for the immediate future.
Yeah.
So
that was it.
Yep. Okay. Appreciate you guys hanging with us. And like I said, we're going to do this GBP belt drawing. There it is. Okay. So you guys can actually, I figured out a way to share this with you guys. So you know that this is going to be legit. Maybe. There we go. I'm going to take this off here too. So you guys will be able to see. Now this was a paid entry, by the way. So this is not based on anyone watching. This was on our Facebook page. This is for the white strap GBP belt that is behind me. I've got everybody's numbers and names and such populated here, and it's 10 clicks. Just so you know, it's on the up and up here. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And click number 10 will be our winner. And it is Thomas Russell. Thomas finally got a win. Thomas was kind of on a dry streak as of late, but he gets the win tonight. So, Thomas, congratulations. I'll touch base with you and make sure that I get that sent your way. Guys, it was rigged. Should have stopped. Okay. Where's Stacy been all night? I've not seen one comment from her, and then she just jumps on to complain. Come on. Where have you been all night? Seriously. Huh? Nothing? You know, I'm just playing. Stacy's one of her biggest supporters too, so she knows.
That's accurate. That's accurate.
Oh, now the comments are gonna light up. I love it. No, seriously, guys, we appreciate the support, especially just being on hiatus for a couple months, and you know, it's just crazy to kind of reflect. You know, during the hiatus, I went back and actually watched bits and pieces from, you know, a few of our other podcasts, and, you know, when we were in a studio, and it's just crazy. We've been doing this for almost 3 years. I mean, let's see, we started in 2020, like literally 2 months before COVID. So three and a half years. We started, I mean, first part of January 2020. So 2020, 21, 22. We're 3.5 years into this. It's just, I don't know, just crazy. Blown away by the support. We appreciate you guys. Unfortunately, it's about that time. Cole, any final thoughts?
As always, thank you for watching the greatest wrestling podcast ever. We sincerely appreciate you guys tuning in and hanging out with us. Again, as always, stay tuned on our social medias and in our Discord. If you're not in our Discord, please let us know. We would love to have you in there, because we have the best wrestling community that there is.
Indeed.
So stay up to date with us on everything that we're doing here. And, you know, I was trying to decide if it's time to retire the Crow Call. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like because of the hiatus, it's time to let the Crow Call stay in the past.
Oh,
you know.
Okay.
You know, I'm the comments aren't lighting up, so I think we're okay with it. I think we're okay with it. I think we're okay with it. No one's freaking out. All right, we're good. All right. Well, that being said, ladies and gentlemen, should we acknowledge Cole? No, please leave your acknowledgement to the tribal chief. I don't want that smoke. All right. But guys, thank you so much. Sincerely appreciate you guys watching.
Yeah.
Wow. Is it bad that I was thinking about saying it too, though? Is it bad that is it bad that I was thinking about saying it too? So
we need elephant call. What does that even mean?
Travis is always on the baby elephant thing. I still,
That's true,
to this day, have no idea what it means, but I support you in it.
You're the breeze.
Okay. I'll think about something, a new sign off, but as of for tonight, it's just gonna be salutations and you know, have a great evening. You know,
guys, we'll see you next week.